Man, we are sick and tired of being sick and tired. We are waiting on an announcement on a deal to be done so we can know who's what free agents we getting on Caitlin Clark team, who we going to draft, and ultimately, when are we about to watch Caitlin Clark destroy these ladies in the WNBA? But this CBA nonsense has been going on and dragging along.
That frustration you just heard? That's every WNBA fan right now. Because while the league just dropped its schedule with a May 8th season opener featuring Caitlin Clark, there's a massive problem. The entire season might not happen. We're talking about a potential lockout with 80% of players sitting in free agency, 2 expansion teams waiting to draft, and a collective bargaining agreement that's completely stalled. The clock is ticking, and it's not looking good.
And the owners and how the NBA is involved. Let's get into it. Here it says, Caitlin Clark spotlight adds pressure to March 10th as WNBA CBA talks threaten the May 8th opener. Okay, here it says the WNBA schedule is out, and on paper, the May 8th season opener should be a celebration of league reaching its peak. But behind the scenes, a high stake.
March 10th. That's the deadline the WNBA just handed to the Players Union during a virtual negotiation session this past Monday. 50 players joined a 2-hour call that was supposed to happen in New York, but got moved online because of a winter storm. And according to the Associated Press, league management made it crystal clear. No deal by March 10th means the May 8th opener is in serious jeopardy. That's less than 2 weeks away, and both sides are still miles apart on the core issue that's been killing these negotiations for months.
Remains, okay? And it's talking about the owners are not going to give in to this revenue sharing thing that these players continue to harp on, and it's just not going down. Here it says the bottom line is simple. Caitlin Clark's spotlight has brought the eyes of the world to the WNBA, and that's a fact. All this is everybody. And no, Caitlin Clark has brought the eyes of the world to the WNBA. Here it says, but it's the March 10th deadline that will determine if those eyes have anything to watch come May. Now let's get into
revenue sharing. That's the line in the sand. The players want a percentage of league revenue, just like NBA players get 50% of basketball-related income. The owners are offering salary increases, better housing, higher minimums, but they're refusing to budge on giving players a cut of revenue. And here's why this matters right now. You've got the Golden State expansion team and another franchise ready to conduct their expansion draft. You've got free agency frozen because there's no CBA framework to sign contracts under. You've got a college draft coming up where teams need to know their salary cap situations. The entire offseason infrastructure is paralyzed.
The bargaining agreement must be agreed to by that day, or the 2026 schedule will be impacted. This is a source going to ESPN, and I smiled. Do you think that's leverage of any kind? Hey, your season may be impacted. It may be shorter. It may go longer if they do what MLB did at the last CBA, where they, in a random, self-imposed deadline and the concomitant threats.
But there's another element making this deadline even more critical: Caitlin Clark. The league's schedule release wasn't just about dates and matchups. It was built around showcasing their biggest star, the player who brought 3.2 million viewers to watch the Indiana Fever last season. The marketing campaigns are ready. The broadcast deals with ESPN and CBS are locked in at significantly higher rates than previous years. Corporate sponsors have paid premium prices expecting Caitlin Clark to be on the court in May. And now all of that is at risk because the two sides can't agree on how to split the money she's helping generate.
That if we don't have an agreement by March 10th, the deal that you are pondering for acceptance by March 10th, which may be given to you March 9th, March 8th, March 7th, maybe we already gave it to you with the housing increases, the minimum increases, but no revenue sharing movement. If you do not accept this deal by that day, every day following, our offer gets worse.
I agree with that. I agree. I don't know why the WNBA is playing soft with the WNBPA. So, like, put your foot down. Put your foot down. Give Y'all got till March 10th to agree. Every day you don't agree, we going less and less and less and less.
Let's talk about what this March 10th deadline actually means. Because David Sampson, former Miami Marlins president, broke down exactly why this ultimatum from the WNBA is weaker than it should be. A real deadline in negotiations doesn't just say agree by this date or the schedule gets impacted. That's vague. That's toothless. A real deadline says, here's our offer, and if you don't accept it by March 10th, every single day after that our offer gets worse. That's leverage. That's pressure. But the WNBA didn't structure it that way, which tells you something about their negotiating position.
Players. I agree. I feel like the WNBA is being too soft with these ladies, with the WNBPA.
I love that strategy. I used it with players all the time. You don't want to agree right now? Your next offer is lower. That is the punishment for not doing things on my time. Yes, I know. I know. The level of selfishness that I exhibited, the level of intensity that I exhibited seems insane now, given what I do for a living and given what's happening to me personally. The fact that
Sampson made another crucial point. If you set a deadline in negotiations and you're not willing to follow through with consequences, you've lost all credibility. Not just in this negotiation, but in every future one. The players, the agents, everyone watching will know your deadlines are meaningless. So the question becomes, is the WNBA actually prepared to lock out players if there's no deal by March 10th? Are they ready to bring in replacement players? Are they willing to cancel games and lose the momentum Caitlin Clark built last season? Because if they're not, then this deadline is just noise.
You should just come out and say, hey, we need a deal right now. Next deal, worse. Deal after that, worse. Deal after that, worse. Just try me. Just try me that I'm not telling you the truth. But then you have to follow through. Because if your child, your partner, your parent, the people with whom you work, the people against whom you negotiate, the agents, if they all believe that you are not sincere when you give a deadline or an ultimatum, you've lost them forever.
Here's the logistical nightmare facing both sides. The expansion draft has to happen before free agency. Free agency has to happen before teams know their full rosters. Teams need to know their rosters before the college draft in mid-April. The college draft has to happen before training camps. Training camps need adequate time before the season opener. It's a domino chain, and every single domino is currently frozen. You cannot conduct a two-team expansion draft, process free agency for 80% of the league, hold a college draft, run training camps, and start the season on May 8th, unless you have a CBA framework in place very soon. The math doesn't work.
More pressure to the WNBPA. And I've seen it, shout out to y'all. It'd be a lot of y'all in the comments. I've been seeing say this for months now. Lessen the offer. Every time they send you a bogus response, offer them less. I've seen a lot of y'all in the comments saying this, man. Get down in the comments. Let me know what you think about this, man. Let's keep the vision.
So here's what makes this situation particularly frustrating for fans and particularly risky for the league. The WNBA just had its best season in history. Attendance records shattered. Television ratings tripled in some markets. Caitlin Clark's rookie year brought mainstream attention the league has been chasing for decades. Corporate sponsors are finally investing real money. The momentum is there. The audience is there. The infrastructure for growth is finally in place. And now, at the exact moment when the league should be capitalizing on that momentum, when they should be riding the Caitlin Clark wave into a transformative 2026 season, everything is stalled because the two sides can't agree on how to split revenue that didn't even exist 3 years ago. Think about the position this puts Caitlin Clark in specifically. She didn't ask to be the face of these negotiations, but that's exactly what she's become. The May 8th opener was almost certainly going to feature the Fever because television networks want her on opening night. The league's marketing materials probably have her front and center. And if there's a lockout, if games get canceled, if the season gets delayed, her name is going to be attached to all of it, even though she has zero control over CBA negotiations. The Players' Union is in a tough spot too. They're asking for revenue sharing at the exact moment when revenue is finally growing, which makes sense from their perspective. Why agree to a long-term deal with fixed salaries when the league might be on the verge of a major financial breakthrough? But the owners are looking at years of losses, years of the NBA subsidizing operations, and they're not convinced this growth is sustainable enough to commit to revenue sharing yet. David Sampson's strategy about making offers progressively worse makes sense in traditional labor negotiations, but there's a reason the WNBA might not be using it. They need the players more than the players need them right now. You cannot replace Caitlin Clark. You cannot replace Breanna Stewart or Aja Wilson or Angel Reese with replacement players and expect anyone to watch. The NBA could survive a lockout in the past because fans would eventually come back for LeBron and Curry. The WNBA's fan base is newer, less established, more fragile. If you alienate them now with a lockout, they might not come back. That's why this March 10th deadline feels less like a power move and more like a desperate plea. The league is essentially saying, please make a deal because we really need to start on time. But the players' union knows that. They know the league has more to lose from a delayed season than they do. So why would they rush to accept an offer that doesn't include revenue sharing? Here's what probably happens. Both sides will negotiate down to the wire, probably past March 10th, and eventually reach a compromise that gives players some form of revenue participation, but not the full 50-50 split they're asking for. Maybe it's a sliding scale where players get a percentage only after the league hits certain revenue benchmarks. Maybe it's a shorter deal, 3 years instead of 8, so both sides can revisit this when they have better data on whether the Caitlin Clark effect is sustainable. But the damage from this public standoff is already done. Fans who were excited about May 8th are now worried the season might not start on time. Sponsors who paid premium rates are getting nervous about their investment. And Caitlin Clark, who should be focused on preparing for her second season, is watching her league implode over money issues she has no control over. The WNBA had a chance to strike while the iron was hot, to lock in a deal during the offseason when there was time to negotiate properly. Instead, they're playing chicken with a March 10th deadline that might not even be enforceable, risking everything they built last year for a labor dispute that's making everyone look bad. So what do you think happens here? Does the WNBA actually have the leverage to enforce this March 10th deadline, or are the players going to call their bluff and negotiate past it? And if you were advising either side, would you tell them to make a deal now or hold out for better terms? Because someone's going to have to blink first, and we're about to find out who needs this season more. Drop your prediction in the comments and make sure you're subscribed because when this deal finally gets done, we're breaking down exactly who won and who got played.